People often think of Halloween as an American children's holiday or a dark and sinister holiday associated with cheap, gory decorations. But it's actually the eve of All Saints' Day in the Catholic Church and has many old world traditions, many of which come from Ireland. Today I'm going to share with you an Irish Halloween cake called Barmbrack. Join me as I share with you the recipe and even a fun game associated with the cake, as well as some other Irish Halloween traditions to go along with it. Let's get started. A couple of hours before you make the cake, you're going to soak raisins, dried currants, golden raisins, and candied citrus peel in 2 cups of strong black tea. All the measurements are listed below. Then drain that, but reserve the liquid, and to another bowl add 2 1/4 cups or 280 grams of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup or 65 grams of light brown sugar, 1 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking soda, and then whisk that all together. Make a well in the center and add in 1 lightly beaten egg, 1/3 cup or 80 milliliters of milk, and 7 tablespoons or 100 grams of melted unsalted butter. Stir that until roughly combined, and then add in your soaked dried fruit. This will help to moisten the batter. You're going to stir in the fruit until the mixture moistens and comes together, and then you're going to add in the reserved tea a little bit at a time to make a moist cake batter, but don't add the whole amount, just until you have a good cake batter consistency. And then you're going to put that in a parchment-lined springform pan and smooth the top to the edges. The game often associated with Barmbrack is a fortune-telling game. A ring, a bean or pea, a cloth, and a coin are hidden in the cake. And if your piece contains one of these charms, it's supposed to predict your future. A ring means you will get married, a bean or pea means you will remain single, a cloth means you will be poor, and a coin predicts wealth. Halloween is a contraction of the words All Hallows Eve, which means All Saints' Evening, indicating that it is the evening or vigil before the Feast of All Saints' Day in the Western Church. Halloween began the observance of the Days of the Dead, which center around All Saints' Day, where the saints in heaven are celebrated. The day before, or All Hallows' Eve, became unofficially, according to Irish folk custom, the day that the souls in hell are remembered. So practices on that day center around recognizing the realities of hell and how to avoid it. Thus the scary costumes and spooky decorations. These are a way to mock evil and remember that Christians have triumphed over evil through Christ. The day after All Saints' Day is All Souls' Day, the day in which the church prays for the souls in purgatory who are on their way to heaven but are not there yet. This is a day to pray for loved ones and visit their graves. Now you're going to bake the cake for 35 to 40 minutes in a 325 degree Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius preheated oven, or until a toothpick comes out clean. Then you're going to open the oven and take out the cake and put a couple tablespoons of honey on the top, brush it on so the whole thing is covered, and then you're going to put that back in the oven for another 5 minutes to let the honey melt over the top of the cake. Then you're going to remove that from the oven and place it on a cooling rack. Once fully cooled, you can add your charms to the cake by flipping it over and making slits on the bottom of the cake with a knife and sliding your trinkets into each slit. So I actually have a little piece of cake here to try, but this is not actually a new recipe for me. I have been making this cake for about 7-8 years now, ever since we started our annual Halloween party with our kids. And I make this every year for our party, and I put the little different charms in it, and then the kids cut into it and they each see which charm they got. So I'll go ahead and taste it for you. It's funny because when I first started making this cake, fruit cakes were somewhat new to me because it's not really something we eat in the United States. So I find this cake to be a bit of an acquired taste if you're an American. American desserts are usually not heavily studded with raisins and currants and dried fruit the way a lot of European desserts and baked goods are. So it's something that I've actually come to love over the years. The cake is very spiced from the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the cloves. It's moist, especially from all the dried fruit. And you can definitely taste a little bit of the flavor in the background from the candied fruit in there as well. And then the sweet honey glaze on top just adds a little bit of an extra hint of sweetness. I encourage you to try it and maybe even play the game with your kids by adding the charms into it. It's funny because I didn't grow up with this cake, but now I heavily associate Halloween with Barmbrack because I've been making it for so long. And when I was making this video, instant nostalgic feelings of, oh, it's almost Halloween time came to me. So maybe add this tradition to your family and maybe you'll come to love fruit cakes as well. They are a long-standing tradition in many different European countries. If you learned something and you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and consider subscribing. I make a European recipe from a different country every week and explore the history and traditions behind each recipe. And there's a lot to look forward to come November and December. I have a lot of Christmas recipes planned that I think you're going to love and you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. The Christmas season is right around the corner, so if you want another spiced cake recipe, consider watching my Swiss gingerbread cake video, or if you want something different but also Christmassy, I have a German Christmas cookie video. And I'll see you next time.